You're watching Experience Comic Culture and Sales, streaming live daily to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
Trying to share the video while dancing.
She was trying to like and share, and she was screaming, and then I started screaming, and everyone started laughing.
So yeah, I was trying to get it like during the commercials, so that way I don't look like I'm playing on my phone. Because every time you guys see me on my phone on any of our shows, I'm hitting that like button and I'm hitting that share button, so that way we can have all of our friends in here to say hello.
And I just yell at my friends who should know better than to message me.
Oh my goodness. So this week was a short week.
It was a small week. It was a lot of releases.
But I will show you something that did get released. Oh my goodness. It feels like a briefcase of death. This is volumes 1 through 20.
This would be the best way to get these issues. It's really hard to find early issues of MHA.
Yes. This is My Hero Academia. This is volumes 1 through 20. And they're going, I think they're going for 180 right now. Yeah. This is pretty much the only way you can get at least like the first 10.
Yeah, it's really hard to find the first like 10 or 15 issues. Most things are bigger than your head, Jenna. It's not an insult, it's a fact.
But what's really cool is you can kind of see all the characters there across the top. And then around it, oh, jinkies. And it comes with this handy dandy handle, which might only help for so long. Jinkies. It also comes with a double-sided poster and bonus. What does that say? Sorry, there's plastic on it, and I'm not ripping the plastic. Does that say illustration?
Yes, illustration booklet.
And illustration booklet. So no, it's on the front. Full of shenanigans today.
But it's really hard to find issue 1 for cheap. So recommend that for your My Hero Academia lover.
Especially with everything. How did you ramen noodles? You know what? I don't have any food yet. I ordered food an hour ago.
My burger has onions on it, and I realized that as I was halfway through the burger.
That's okay. There should be, at some point, we will hear some magic knocking, and then you will see some happy Jenna dancing.
And you'll see me stand up and reach off screen.
because man, it's been an hour. It's crazy. There is one more thing before we get into the books. Previews. Our previews books are out this week. Gosh, and I hate to say it, but yes, thank you. So this one has also got the announcement of the Green Ranger bust is going to be in here. Oh, nice. And everybody is still mourning him, but there we go.
I had a very awkward conversation with somebody because I didn't grow up watching Power Rangers. It wasn't my jam. It wasn't my sister's thing either. Yeah. I was a Pokemon kid.
I watched the original series in Russian. Yeah. And it's very different when it's coming out, because it was also coming out like 5 or 6 years after it came out here on TV. Yeah. Over there and in Russian, it's very different storyline.
I'd assume so.
It is much different. And then when I moved here and I got to watch it in English and realized there was more than just one season, I was a very happy kid.
It is very sad seeing a lot of people who are in the industry that people grew up with slowly dying, and it's been a very sad last couple of months.
Yeah, and I got to meet him last year too. Really? He was here at the store.
Oh, wow.
He's such an amazing person. Oh, yeah. I do recommend anybody out there who needs any type of help, you can always call. There's hotlines. We're usually around too. So,
and somebody who's been to a psych facility, they're not that bad. They're there to help. They're a hospital for a reason. They're not a ward.
A Japanese show copied by American in Russian. Yeah, that's
essentially.
Yeah, that tracks. All right. I I do have a confession. I really, really, really liked all the books that I read this week. There was one I was kind of like, well, okay. And it wasn't until the last couple of pages. I was like, okay, I understand now. So yes. I don't know where to start. I liked everything.
You just want to knock out 6 billion genies.
Oh my gosh. So the 6 billion. It's 8 billion, number 6. So this is 8 Billion Genies number 6. We're coming to a head. There's only 2 more issues out after this because it's a series of what, 8? Yeah. So it's 8. Series. There is something that me and Liam were discussing about this, and that is when the trade comes out, there needs to be plushies.
Like every single time that 8 Billion Genies comes out, we've been screaming for customizable plushies. Like just give us just a base genie and just customizable clothing.
Like let me add.
Let me Build-A-Bear my genie.
Yes, Build-A-Bear. Build-A-Bear needs to do that now. Oh my gosh, Build-A-Bear and Image need to team up to make genies, and then we can go in and just like customize them. I
pay Build-A-Bear money for it.
Take my money. So this series is so everybody,
beautiful.
The series is absolutely stunning.
Everybody in the story loves it.
So where we're at in this one, and I wrote everybody's names down, and I'm not going to find it in time. Oh well. So this is the way they're doing it is the first one I think was the first like 8 seconds or 8 minutes, and then it was 8 days and 8 months. This is over the first 8 years that it came out, and it starts off with 2 years into since Genie Day. Yeah. And all I've got to say is the band is back.
Nice.
They spend the next 5 years practicing.
Nice.
Because they found I think it was called oh, I can't read that. I think it was called Funland that they're trying to get into, but you have to audition to get into it. Yeah. So they're walking and 2 months into, they're out in the wild. Because that's where they were, everybody was leaving the bar at the end of the last issue. Yeah. So at the beginning of this one, they're just like, oh wow, I bet you, like they're talking to genies, like what about this Funland? Tells them like, oh, you have to audition to get in, and they're just like, oh man, we ain't done that in a while. We ain't done that in like 2 years. 6 million genies, all right, got it. I see you, Edward. So they're practicing. And then they accidentally stumble upon, and then Jay's going to like this, a town in North Carolina that's based in 1982. Somebody used their wish to make the place that they grew up in, like the happiest place they were ever in. And it was in a town in North Carolina in 1982.
That feels like WandaVision, if I'm being completely honest.
And the only reason they figured out it was the 80s was that it was some of the movies that they had up on the Cineplex. And what was weird about this town is it's almost all remnants. Yeah. So, and I don't know if anybody else has read, this might be a little spoiler, but in the past issues, we found out in the first and second issues that remnants only last as long as the person who wished for them to be alive is alive.
There's a mom that essentially gets it too.
Yeah. So as long as the person who wished for that thing is alive, then the remnant gets to stay alive. And so this is basically a whole town of things that are probably not going to last, but we're going to have to see. And they kill it. The band kills it as the punk rock band that they always were. And then also we get to revisit the other family, and I just blinked out their names. I'm so sorry. I think they named their daughter Ling Ji.
I do not remember.
Oh, I wish I could remember now. And so we get to see her. Yeah. We get to revisit that family. Yeah. And you see that they've become part of this like group that's trying to build their own town. Mm-hmm. We got like log cabins and like farmhouses and trying to live. Yeah, they're trying to figure this out. But this town is all people who don't have genies anymore. Mm-hmm. And we know the mom and the baby have genies. Yeah. And so the mom figured out how to hide hers. And everybody's like, oh, well, she's a newborn, so she got a genie. So we can't really be like, oh, you can't be in here because it's a newborn. Yeah. Well, she's about 7 years old now. Yeah. And the genie's like, guess what? It's almost time for her to figure out about wishes. And they're just like,
how about no?
How about you? So, hey, Pablo. Hey, Ship. Everybody here. I like it. And then we also get to visit the other family, which is the one, the son is the superhero. with the Idea Man.
Yeah.
And they finally broke down what his plans were and then how he just like gave up those plans.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, he wanted to take out every other Haven. Yeah. And everybody was okay with that.
Yeah.
Except for the mom, who's a remnant.
Yeah.
And she's like, what is wrong with you people? He wants to take out people. And they're just like, oh, he keeps us happy and healthy. And the superhero kid, you can see all the things that he's being asked to do is really starting to weigh on him. Yeah. And you're just like, wow.
You can see like it's slowly breaking him in the last issue too.
In this issue, you can see there's a moment where he just like switches off and he just does it automatically now. And you're just like, it's really sad. If you guys haven't been reading the series, it gets rough. But it's so good at the same time. And the art style is seriously like this, where you can see like it's two different art styles in here. So the genies have their own art style, and then everything else
works so well.
Yes, it does.
Oil. And all the reprints, they have different covers and they have different genies.
There's also going to be a special reprint coming out tomorrow for local comic shop day.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
That's nice.
All right, your turn.
Okay.
I talked a lot about that one. I really like that one.
I'll leave Silver Streak then because of everything that's been happening with my car. Little transparency. My car died yesterday and it's officially dead. So I'm having it.
Did you not put oil in your car?
It's not that.
It's not just
I looked
that.
At it.
It's not just that.
It's the alternator.
Yeah, but you got to put oil in it. Like, real important.
Yes.
Like, almost as much as gas and, like, you driving it. Oil.
Yeah.
Yes.
But this is the alternator.
Yeah,
so.
This is not just the oil. It's a Honda thing. But
Anywho.
This guy. It's a really good, I don't know how to pronounce it.
Wait, I'm trying to, okay, so is it Kamen Rider 01 number 1?
So it's based from another series, from what I'm generally aware of. That essentially they're like mech people.
Transformers?
Kind of, yeah. But not really. It's really hard to explain. But it's a so it's hard to explain.
Okay, so it's mech people doing mech people things?
Yeah, so the like main guy, he doesn't really know why he has like the suit and the powers or anything. I think that's in Carmen, Ohio. What? I'm so confused. But this dude like it's a continuing series. It's been going on for a while.
Goodness.
Yes. And like this one dude, he like comes out of a void and he's like, hey, and the dude's like
rude, chill.
Like there's like a whole like android thing going on. It's a really cool premise. Honestly, I feel like without any context, it's a good book. It was a good book.
What is?
Yeah,
it's an anime and comic.
It reminded me of like the mech suits in Darling in the Franxx.
Ooh,
yeah, it was giving me that vibe. It was giving me like massive vibes. Like there's a romance character who reminds me a lot of 02. So not in her bad way.
Oh, okay, not like the non-dear way.
Like the cute way, yeah.
So
like when she's not trying to kill him.
In moments. So there was actually a book that we both read. This is Doctor Strange Fall Sunrise. And I'm going to say what I think about it, and then he's going to say what he thinks about it. So here's my notes. Give me a minute. So beautiful. So very beautiful is what I put. It feels like that weird, like the art style and everything kind of felt like, I don't want to say acid trip, but you know.
It feels like the Neo
Art Deco pop like vibes.
Feels like the early 90s kind of like when the 70s was trying to come back in the 90s for Neo art style.
Nice. We'll start the review sometime in the near future. I see you. So yeah, it was beautiful art, like pop deco. And it felt like Doctor Strange is maybe stuck in like a dream world. They give you no context when it opens. So if it's trying to come off of another series, I'm not sure. It doesn't tell us, but it comes off really beautiful art.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, definitely. And then at some point in the book, he comes across a deer and just kind of like follows it around for a little bit. It's like, oh, hello, Mr. Deer. And I'm like,
He's
this Yellow Submarine, Doctor Strange. Is that
he
what
casually talks to that deer. He has a very casual conversation.
Which is fine. I talk to animals all the time, but the kind of conversation he had with the deer was very different than a conversation I would have with the deer. I would tell the deer how delicious he looks, and I can't wait to cook him up. He did not have that kind of conversation with the deer. You make him sad. Yeah, the art style is nothing like what's on the cover.
No.
But I can kind of see why they did it, though. This is the variant. We were out of cover A's. We only had like 1 or 2 come in, and they're already in pull boxes. But I would recommend picking it up if you want to see kind of the like behind the scenes of Doctor Strange. Because when he wakes up, he's just like, who am I? Where am I? What's happening? Now, wait a minute. I think I remember something. Oh my God, my hands. What am I going to do without my hands? Oh, wait, my hands are okay. What are we up to today? And you're just like, okay, Doctor Strange.
It feels like you're on a drug trip in like a decent way.
Save the deer,
save the doe.
But I would recommend picking it up. It was a beautiful, beautiful book. Yes, like I said, it was a beautiful book. That's all I've got to say.
Like he's like Doctor Strange.
All right, what did you think of this book?
I thought the art in it was gorgeous. The story is I just flipped through it. I like literally skimmed through it because she was like, look at this. And the story, there is a story. I don't know what it is. But like I said, the art in it is really good.
Yeah.
I'm very particular about my art. I'm a very much like go to those underground interactive art exhibits.
Yeah, that's how it got.
Yeah, it felt like I was walking through a Meow Wolf art exhibit. It was so trippy. It does absolutely feel like an acid trip. It looks like something people that I know would listen to Pink Floyd and look at.
Now hold on, I listen to Pink Floyd, and I read that book.
Have you met you? I was like, have you met?
I was like, no, wait a minute, I did like that book, didn't I? Okay.
Yeah,
moving on.
It's really pretty though. So.
I'm just borrowing things to make them laugh. I see you. Okay, let's see. They don't need too much help. Shit.
I said Pikmin pie, and I was like, that's cruel.
Pumpkin pie. Jenna loves pumpkin pie. Continue.
We've talked about this. We have talked about this on multiple shows.
Does he remember that he? I don't think so. I think
maybe it's in like the time frame of like because your brain like you have a sudden burst of oxytocin, so like you see really weird hallucinations when you
that's kind of how it feels. Like he's having this hallucination of like this dreamlike world that he doesn't like. He remembers things, but I don't think he remembers all the way up to
because people who are in comas where they flatlined and then came back, they experience very vivid hallucinations. Yeah. To a point like they meet like dead family members. It's nuts.
All right, what is next?
Okay. Let's just knock Ronin out. Okay. So this is from the Frank Miller Presents new publishing house. It's a follow-up to his previous Ronin book, which I have not read. I may be missing context, which is fairly fine. The art in it is gorgeous. Anytime that I read anything Frank Miller, I'm like, if I don't like the story, I love the art.
It's because we're blind. I'm sorry.
I need my eyes checked, and she's legally blind.
So it kind of gets that zoom every once in a while just for you guys.
Okay. But it's really cool. Like I feel like even missing context, I feel like I could easily just grab it from context clues. Just a good overall story. Because like me not knowing any previous context, I can't really say much about like, oh, I love this story. It's beautiful. It's a fantastic thing.
What was the story about?
So essentially, the main character, I'm assuming, it's like a Matrix vibe where like she's tapped into a computer. She's like attached to all these wires and like tubes and stuff. It looked like the Matrix. And you don't know if it's a simulation or if this is actually happening. And she has like this little boy that I guess is her son. And he's like being raised to also be a Ronin. And they're taking down like this giant monster. It's very all over the place. This is why
Okay, so Matrix, Kiddo, training, and monsters.
Essentially,
Oh
yeah,
my.
it's very all over the place. But it's a really cool story.
Does it feel like it's setting up for like continuing?
Yeah, it feels like it's absolutely setting up to like continue just like she's at some point gonna disappear and like the son's gonna have to like come find her or something like that. It seems like a really cool beginning to a new storyline. So
Nice. All right, so this one. Let me see if I can get the full title correct.
You got this, I believe in you.
Once Upon a Time at the End of the World, Book 1, Love in the Wasteland, storyline. Oh my gosh. Hold on a second. I'm so sorry, guys. Like, so this has like 3 titles to it. I'm so sorry. The Lone Wolf and Cub vibes. Yes, that is definitely what Ronin gives. So this book right here literally has like 3 titles to it. And I think Jay can only fit 2 of them, which is totally fine because it's not until you open the book.
I remember why I recognize that because it's in a preview.
Okay, so this book specifically is called The Tower in the Sea from Book 1, Love is a Wasteland, from the storylines of Once Upon a Time at the end of the world. Woo! Ha! I loved it. This was top 2 favorite books of today. Yes. So this is in my top 2 favorite books of this whole this.
When
okay.
she told me the name, I immediately was like, it reminds me of Doctor Strangelove or How I Fell in Love with the Bomb.
Okay. So it starts off with somebody is like rowing, and you're like, oh, what are you rowing through? It's garbage. It's like the ocean has taken over the world because it's the end of the world. So the ice caps, they come up melting, and then garbage is just everywhere. And they're just rowing. And then all of a sudden they're rowing through a city with like big skyscrapers, and they're just like rowing. And then all of a sudden they get like caught by like, I guess it was like an octopus / kraken or whatever. And it's like, nah, man, you ain't gonna get me. And then like somebody's up in the tower is like, oh, I should totally boom them because that would be a much better death rather than, getting eaten by said thing. She really wants to say love is I do, because love is a battlefield. Anywho, so one of them is, like row, 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 kraken, no, die. And the other one's like, oh, should I boom you? Oh, there's another one of those like swamp skewered things. I should boom them. They're not going to boom them because they take off their mask. It's not a swamp skewer thingy. It's a girl. And I want to say both of these like kiddos are like teenage age, and they're at the apocalypse. They have never known anything but this wasteland of apocalypse or apocalypse of wasteland or whatever you want to call it. And so the one dude like throws open the door and is like, come in here, because so she takes out the Kraken octopus, right? And another one, bigger one, pops up. She's like, oh yeah, I just killed your uncle. What are you gonna do about it? Hey. And then they go to fight, and you're like, man, she's about to be taken out by the bigger one. And they just like goes running inside. What was the name? Oh goodness.
No.
Once Upon a Time at the End of the World, Love is a Wasteland. That's what we're gonna call it. Book 1. Something else. But that's all we're gonna call that one. And so they go inside, and he's like, oh, he looks like Dr. Octopus with all the things and the things, like the things.
To be IRL. I wish I was more caffeinated, honestly.
Oh, goodness. I've been here a long time today. And that is literally in the first 4 pages of the book. Everything I've just described is the first 4 pages of the book. Now, continuing on with this is that standing ovation, bravo. Thank you. Continuing on for this is they go in there, and the dude's just got like the hands with the buzzsaw things, and then she just like takes it out with like one swipe of her sword, and he's like, oh man, why did you go and do that? And the chick's like, do you have water? And he's like, yeah, I got water. And she's like, do you have food? He's like, yeah, I got food. She's like, give me the tour. He's like, okay. And he gives her the tour, and he's like, oh yeah, this is my book pool, where it's a pool that's been drained and it's full of books. I want a book pool. And And then they walk into another room that's just, so the kid had somehow gone around through the whole city and collected, hey, Kenneth, welcome in. What are you doing with the hands again? The buzzsaws. I forgot the word for buzzsaws. Anywho, so the kid had somehow, during all of this, gone around to the entire city and all of the buildings, taken all of the vending machines and stuck them in one room in his building.
Oh.
I guess that's one way to have food forever.
It's impressive,
because it's like
though.
Candy and granola bars and like Pop-Tarts.
I do that.
You find like muffins and bananas, although I think at this point the fruit's
I feel like you
not
shouldn't
good.
eat fruit out of a vending machine during the apocalypse.
Maybe not during the apocalypse, but like granola bars I feel like would be good forever.
Yeah.
Right?
Just if it's Nature Valley, it gets crumbly.
It's still tasty.
It's still edible, yes.
You just gotta pour it in some clean water or something. Just like eat it like soup or something. And then he's like, the chick's like, you know what? I don't want to stay here forever. It's time for me to move on. And the dude's like, you could just stay here. And she's like, I just told you I don't want to stay here forever. I need to move on because I don't want to be kept in a cage. And then, they're off on a hero's journey because they're off on a hero's journey. So the two of them go off on a hero's journey in the wasteland of the apocalypse. And then in the last 2 pages, what they twist happens. So,
I love
yeah,
Edward's comment.
what do you say? I can miss that grandma was
That is
the
beautiful.
granola. Oh no, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be yogurt, based off of what was it called? Love, Death, and Robots.
Yes.
The yogurt.
I still need to finish it. I watched the first episode and
You
I was like,
need
this is a
to.
lot.
Each
It's
episode's
beautiful.
only 5
so
to
good.
15 minutes.
Yeah.
So
You think my squirrel on drugs?
actually, yes, because I will sit there and watch the entire series in one go.
I've been told by multiple people to.
It takes like 2
finish-
hours to watch all the seasons.
I need to finish that tonight after I'm done
Yes,
catching
you
up on wrestling.
do. It's granola. All right, it's your turn. So
Okay.
yeah, that's top 2 books.
So good. I'll just keep this one to last because I just don't want to cry. Sort of crying because of my car while reading it. It was not a
Aw.
pleasant experience. Anyways.
Poor Gregory.
Oh, I miss Gregory.
Moving on.
Anyways.
With Yoda.
Star Wars Yoda. So I don't follow the Star Wars series that
It's
heavily.
number 1, not number 2.
Anyways, so it seems like it takes place in between like Dr. Aphra and a lot of other Star Wars series that have been going on. And same thing with Revelations. I'll get to that though. So it seems like it's taking in between of like Yoda meeting Luke and all that small crew before they all meet. So he's doing his own little side quest. And
About to send you on a quest.
to get your food.
Yes. Just kidding. We got books.
Maybe. But it's just a really nice, like, refreshing Star Wars storyline, knowing like enough about Yoda to like get through. It feels like it was a good balance for people who know like a base level of Star Wars, like know a little bit of the history. I feel like it was a good just stable book just to read, even if you don't know much about Star Wars like me. I didn't grow up with Star Wars guy. I grew up with a Trekkie. So it's just a good story.
How did you end up with both Star Wars books? Though?
You gave them
How
to
did
me.
I
Why
do
did
that?
you? I don't know.
How did I do that? I thought I made it fair.
Like
I'm so sorry.
No, like 2 or 3 weeks in a row, I've read nothing but Star Wars. There's been a lot
I'm
of
so
Star.
sorry.
No, it's fine. A lot of Star Wars has been coming out, especially with Dark Horse taking back the Star Wars property.
Some of it, not all
Yeah.
of it. I think Marvel still has a pretty good hold.
They
on
have
it.
their chunk
Yeah.
that's in the
Yeah.
movies. But no, it's a balanced story for a Yoda story. It was very I loved it.
What is Yoda doing in this one?
Essentially, it's like a lot of weird storylines going on all at once. So essentially, Yoda goes to this planet. I don't remember what the planet is now. And helps out these people that are being terrorized by the dark side. And he's like, I'm gonna help you, but I might not stay. I don't really have a need to stay here, but I can stay if you want me to. So he helps them like fight all the bad guys. Does Yoda things. It's just a BA overall. And
Because Yoda does what Yoda does.
of course, Yoda lived a very fulfilling life. So he gets invited to like this bonfire to thank him, and all the people are like, "Are you gonna stay? You said you were gonna stay." And Yoda's like, "Of course I'm gonna stay for now."
Wait, didn't he say at the very beginning, "I might not stay"?
Yeah, no, it got really weird
before Luke did. Oh goodness.
But it's just because I can't remember if it's this one. Because this takes place before Revelations.
Okay.
So you don't meet Luke at all in this. Like, there's no like training or anything.
No training montage?
No training montage. It does give an homage to the training montage, though.
An homage to the training montage.
Shirts. But it's just an overall just like wholesome Yoda storyline. Like, if you want,
like Yoda, you should talk.
Oh no! If I try to do a Yoda impression, nobody will.
Many books of greatness. There was.
I want to see this homageage.
Homageage.
Oh.
Yes, I love that. I love that. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, I'm so super proud.
I want to see the homageage as well.
Well, I can't show it on camera, unfortunately.
I know. So you have to pick it up tomorrow so everybody can read it.
Yes.
Okay. Oh my gosh, these 3 books were so good.
Which one was your favorite?
I'm gonna save my favorite for last. I think maybe
it's up to you. You have your own.
They're all so good. Like it was like a 4-way tie for favorite book. So Fear of a Red Planet #1 from Aftershock. As we all know, Aftershock definitely kills it in my books. Like, I think I get all of their stuff. I'm pretty sure it's in my pull list that I get all Aftershocks. Period.
I was very excited about that one because I heard about it last week.
So it opens up in the first couple pages. It says 2050. So it's set in 2050, the first couple pages. And it's like, come live on Mars and start a new life. And it's this really cool advertisement of living on Mars. Cut to 2070. No, 2070 is not. Yay! Thank you. Super excited. Hold on. I'm just going to show everybody what I got really quick. I got cheesy rolls.
Sans the pepperoni.
Yeah, that's why they're called cheese rolls, not pepperoni rolls. Anywho, so then it goes into 2070, and it's more like, so I don't know if anybody's watched the Aliens, which is the second Alien movie. Yeah, so then you might be able to explain this as I'm talking it a little better. So you know how when they go to another planet and they start building a city or a town, and then all of a sudden it just becomes like not good.
It's like an anthill, but it slowly breaks down.
Yes. So like
that's how human civilization is.
That's what happens in this one. So it becomes mostly like for outlaws and stuff like that. So and they talk about how this happened in the last 5 years. So they got to Mars. They had 15 years of like greatness, I guess is what it sounded like, because they didn't really like talk about it a lot.
That feels about accurate to how it would be on Mars.
And then in the last 5 years, it's just become sort of like an outlaw town, but not really outlaws. It's just the people that are stuck there are upset that they're stuck there because they don't have enough credits or they have too much debt to be able to go home.
It reminds me of Outer Worlds a little bit.
Yeah, it was kind of like that, but with an old Western feel is kind of how it felt to me. Whereas like the sheriff comes on, and in my head I heard wow 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 wow, like that sound.
So Outer Worlds was cowboy.
Yeah, but like much prettier because the art style is this. That is the art style.
Oh, that's really nice.
I know. So the art style is this exactly. And she's the sheriff.
Oh.
Yes. And she locks him up. There's this one dude who gets into a fight with these other dudes, and they just start like curb stomping his butt because, they're sick and tired of him being rude to them all the time.
Fair.
And then the sheriff's like, okay, you guys need to chill out. Stop beating him up. And they're like, we're going to kill him.
Maim.
And so she locks him up for his own safety and because nobody can stand him. And then goes to like take care of things, but it's all in the middle of like this huge dust storm. And we all know what happens in dust storms. Things and plots. Things and plots. plot.
Nice.
Lots of plot. I literally cannot say anything else about this without spoiling it. So like that's it.
Does it feel like it could be accurate to whenever we eventually colonize Mars?
Yes.
Oh wow, that's about what I heard. In
And
some
they
reviews.
do these weird little like flashes
Ooh,
for
I didn't
one
realize
page
they stayed short.
flashes. And
Oh, that's why it's Mark Sable.
yeah. They do these little like one page flashes of things that are happening throughout the year.
Water
the years.
time.
Yeah.
Water time.
It is water time. You
My
guys
water's
keep
on
it
the
straight.
other side of the room. I don't want to get up and get it. I do have coffee in my bag though.
Anywho, so one of the things that I really liked is to give you kind of a flash of what's going on. One of the things is it says the International Space Station 2055, and it shows a picture of just a bunch of like astronauts holding guns. And you're just like, what is it's that one of those standoff things going on?
Mexican standoff.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, okay. So not 5 years.
Not like Spider-Man putting it in himself.
It was there was a lot of blood.
Oh.
Yeah. So I'm super excited to keep reading this.
Why did
It
my
looks
brain
really good.
just think, what happens if you shoot somebody with a gun in space?
That depends. Are you inside something or are you like outside
space?
You
Because physics wouldn't be allowed.
are you in the space station or outside?
Inside? But
If you're inside, they have oxygen, and that means you can still have fire, thus you can still shoot a gun. But if you're outside the space station, then everything's a vacuum. You can't shoot something with gunpowder because there's no fire to make boom boom.
Do you have to have some level of gravity though in
No.
order to cause back pressure?
No, it just pushes you back. You would just get pushed back
Yeah.
at the same force as the bullet is going forward.
So you're gonna get
So
launched.
y'all both gonna get launched, and whoever you shoot's gonna get launched. Now, if you're outside the space station, you can't use
Because
that
it's a
because
vacuum.
it's a vacuum. There's
Yeah.
no oxygen. There's also no ether for anything like gunpowder and stuff like that
Yeah.
to like float through. And so you would have to do something like a harpoon gun or something that's like electric
But
or
even
something like that. Then you could shoot something, but you would be thrown back the same force as it's going forward, and then you just keep tumbling forever in space.
Gravity taught me taught me better than that. The Sandra Bullock movie, I
Little
think.
did you guys know you were gonna get a physics.
We're physics nerds. You can't be a comic nerd without physics.
Yes, you can. Kind of, mostly. My biggest wish is that this would cool off for me to eat.
Well, it smells delicious.
It's your turn.
Okay. The next Star Wars book, Star Wars Revelations. So it follows Darth Vader, Anakin Skywalker. That sounds so. I love that.
I'm so glad.
So it follows Darth Vader, Anakin. I'm just picturing my almost 6-year-old nephew saying that it's fine.
With the gun, make boom boom.
Yeah.
Because you always double tap.
I learned that from Zombieland. Anyways,
Continue.
so it follows Anakin, or supposedly Anakin Skywalker. You never actually see his face.
Rude.
Just people are consistently saying, "What happened to your helmet?" Zero context. I'm like, oh, because you see whoever is in Darth Vader's suit lift up the helmet, but you never see the face. You only see the back of a head and hands. That's all you see. And like degloved hands. Not like the degloving, like the lack of skin, but like no gloves on the hand. I think the bullet. Yeah.
I mean, sure, that sounds about right, but that's not what we're arguing about anymore. But we'll come back to that later.
But like it keeps you guessing because it's because people keep referring to Darth Vader as Anakin, but you don't know definitively that it is Anakin in the suit. And I am not, like I have said, I am not a huge Star Wars nerd. I do know enough of lore to get me through conversations. And they make like references to Dr. Aphra, and you see her at one point, like talking to him, and there's like a whole I have the high ground kind of moment, because they're on the planet that the whole situation happens on, and so it just keeps you guessing throughout the entire thing, and you never definitively know. And then Luke and Leia and that whole crew and the Millennium Falcon are trying to find Anakin. That's not really Anakin. It's so confusing, but like in a good way. What's Star Wars? It's a franchise that Disney bought for a lot of money.
Hey, you want to know a secret? Darth Vader is Luke and Leia's Aja.
And did you know that Luke and Leia?
I don't want to talk about that. Luke and Leia kissed before they knew they were brother and sister. But then at the same time, at the end of the thing, they were like, I think I always knew. Then what did you get?
They also normalized it throughout the entire series. They don't even acknowledge it after that whole section. They're just like, yeah, we kissed, and yeah, we know we're siblings. And it's weird. It's so weird.
Galaxy far, far away.
They do give you context at the beginning of this, though, just to give you wrapped up in, because it takes place in the comic universe. It doesn't really take place in the movie universe. Which is why they give you context with Dr. Aphra and all that fun stuff. Are you happy? You seem happy. But it's just overall like a pretty decent Star Wars storyline, as long as you know the basic like plot line of Star Wars and like know the basic backgrounds on it. I feel like it's a pretty decent series to read.
Edward,
we're nerds.
We're
such nerds. In the best of ways. We get paid to be nerds. Are you kidding? Yeah.
I'd be a nerd either way.
But it's absolutely, you don't, if you can look up like the synopsis of the Dr. Aphra series that's been going on, I feel like you'd be fine. I feel like it's a decent, like, beginner friendly for the Star Wars series, as long as you know basic character background. So.
My food threw away my notes. How rude.
She sat down her notebook paper and just pointed at it and screamed.
No, look, it fits perfectly in the
You
container.
stopped like 10 seconds and just screamed at the paper.
All right,
There was a pause.
hold on. Let me show
There
you
was
guys.
a thought process.
Look. No, my notes fit perfectly in with my snacks. My dinner. Whatever this is.
Food.
All right, Creepshow number 3.
That's
This has
good stuff.
This is so good.
Yeah.
So this is what is that word? I literally said the word like
Anthology.
Anthology. So there's 2 stories in this. You can pick up any single one of them you want, and you won't be missing.
They're all really good
anything.
and all really good art.
So this one, the 2 stories were called Hair and Bridge.
Oh.
So excuse me. The first one starts off with a dude was sitting there feeding raccoons, like super adorable. Like he's just sitting on his front porch, throwing some food at the raccoons, and he's like, oh, well, look at my little friends. I guess it's time for me to go inside. I've got to do some work. Woo! And then on the next page, we see there's a dude missing his head. It's not that dude. It's a different dude. That dude is sitting at the barbershop, and somebody comes into the barbershop. He's like, hey, my friend's cousin just died. Get me fancy looking so I can take her out so she can feel better. And he's like, okie dokie. Okay, and then they talk about how it was a hunting accident and how his friend went with him, and that's, a whole hunting accident. And somebody else was like, hey, did you hear what happened? The sheriff just almost hit me because there's another hunting accident with another missing head.
Wow, that's a very. I wonder how they're hunting. It's
one person thinks so. They're all at the barbershop. And this one dude was like, yeah, I'm back in town for the first time in 3 weeks. And I look like a grizzly man. Can you give me a haircut? He's like, sure, boo, I got you. Sit in my chair. And so like everybody is at the barbershop just trying to figure out what kind of like hunting accidents keep happening that are just taking people's heads off.
sounds like Ghost Ship.
I did not. Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
Ghost Ship. I did not expect the culprit to be who the culprit was.
Oh, that's actually really.
I
good.
didn't see that one coming.
Really.
I did not see the
That's
ending
what
of
I've
this
been
one coming.
appreciating with
Like
those
I
kids
should have.
shows, yeah.
I should have been able to see this one coming
Yeah.
because I know all of the like horror like tropes and stuff like
Yeah.
that. This was not it.
Oh yeah.
This was not any of them.
Was it a background character or is just like never mentioned?
Words.
Spoilers.
So that is the first word. No, it's not spoilers. I'm not taking any spoilers.
I was trying to force spoilers out of her.
No, I will not tell you any
that.
spoilers. No spoilers. So that was the first one. The second story is called Bridge, and what I'm gonna take away from Bridge, and I wrote it this way. So it's a couple of like famous on social media, like influencers, go to an ancient tribe's holy
it's always the influencer.
tower.
It's always an influencer.
Not tower, but like in
cheapy.
No, like it's a giant stone building. Temple is the word. I forgot the word temple. So these influencers go to this temple, and all the other influencers are listening to the tribals and like the natives, where they're like, "Hey, you should cover up. Hey, you shouldn't be yelling and cursing and spitting on things." But one doesn't, and so the rest of them are so sick and tired of her attitude that they just like bounce on her as a joke. And
fair.
So you should definitely, if you ever go somewhere. Oh, and this was on the beach during a full moon.
Was it at 3 a.m.?
No. It was like it was afternoon, in the daytime.
3 a.m.
Yes, I got you. Anywho, so it was in the afternoon. Yes, hey Nick, welcome.
Yeah.
So it's in the afternoon, going into evening, and she's sitting there trying to be live on her phone, but it like glitches out, and she can hear her friends like. Not so much like backstabbing, like bad talking her behind her back, but just sort of stating the obvious of like, hey, maybe we shouldn't have crossed that bridge in just bikinis like that, dude said.
Yeah.
He's lived here his entire life. He knows these things. Maybe we should have listened to him. I can't believe she was being such a bee about it. Yeah. And she's like on the phone, like, I can hear you guys. I'm live and everybody can hear you. And no, she's not live. No, not anybody can hear her.
Yeah.
And things and shenanigans ensue after that.
Oh. That face scared me.
Things and shenanigans ensue after that. They find her, kind of.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't read that thing.
Yeah, it was so good. It was so good. I deeply enjoyed it. What does it say? This is the longest I've ever seen you not hum MASH. We haven't had to go on hold. I sing MASH when we're on hold. Liam, it is your turn. I think it's your last book, isn't it?
No, because I've been putting out Silver Street.
Oh, you're right.
Actually, I'll just do Silver Street because I love this one. Nobody's Girl. Nobody's Girl has been delayed for a couple of weeks. So I'm gonna go with Silver Street. I can see it on the camera. So, it seems like it's a follow up to something else. Or if it's not, then zero context is there. So essentially this dude, he gets superpowers after a car accident, because he's a race car driver, I guess. It was the car implication is what, it was the first book that I read as soon as I found out that my car is just dead until I can afford to fix it.
Just an alternator. It's really all he needs.
Yes, but I'm poor, you see. So, this guy, he gets in a car accident at some point and gets superpowers. He can run really fast. He's essentially the Flash. But
from a car instead of lightning.
Yes.
Okay.
So it seems like this dude does like illegal drag racing, like all that fun stuff. And so
would you not condone anything illegal on this show? Please do not illegally drag race. You won't get superpowers.
And don't race for pink slips. My dad did that in high school. It was not fun.
Please don't do illegal
Don't do illegal things. We do not condone illicit activities being done.
Anywho, we got 10 minutes. We got 2 books. Go.
Anyways, so it's just an overall like unique take on like super speed. So if you're a car guy, I mean, pick it up. And if you like just super speed, like the Flash, go get it.
Okay.
Yeah. I have nothing else really to say about it. It's just super speed.
I'm going to talk about my favorite book of the week.
Yes.
Frank Miller presents Ancient Enemies. This book I loved so much. I went on a probably 30-minute tangent before the show even started about how much I liked it. We have like 8 minutes okay. Yeah. So my favorite line of this entire book is in the very third panel on the first page. So what happens is something rips through the space-time. They make a little rip space-time, little alien ship comes through, and then the general over at the Pentagon comes in, and he's like, why didn't you tell me it was the end of the world? And they were like, we sent you a text. And the guy was like, it's the end of the world, and all you could do is send a text. And they were like, well, I mean, it's, it's the end. What's it matter? So we come to find out everywhere from Hartford to Philly is gone. Just gone. 10 million people gone. Dead. Oh, yeah. Bysky. Disclaimer on the comic show. Yes. So it's just gone. So that is the setup that they did. And it is, the book itself is set 20 years later. Where we kind of see this one chick who looks like she was like a hero back in the day, but then like the whole thing happened with the two alien ships coming through. One come crashing to Earth, go boom. And now she's like retired, and her son is just like, I'm so sick of your shenanigans. How dare you retire when, the whole world is falling apart? And she is like, yo, I was a hero your entire life, and I thought you and your dad were dead, so I had to retire because I wanted to be with you more. And he's like, well, I'm going to go protest at the bridge that they're opening up today. So they're opening up a bridge between so it's Americana and I think it's called the Sentinel is what it was, where they had spent the last like 20 years doing things. So my main note for this book was that it was so good that it was rude.
Yeah.
So good it was rude. Like, I can't wait to read the rest of it. So you get to meet these two characters at the end of it. So yeah, it's been 20 years. Aliens come crashing to Earth, make boom, kill a bunch of people, and now new heroes. Pick it up. It's so good. So good.
Nobody's girls.
I had girls.
There is direct references to adult filmography. Like the whole plot of the book is this high school teacher is watching an adult film and sees a splice in of a girl screaming for help. And he goes back to the store and he's like,
what are those
hey,
called?
watch this.
Snuff films?
No, it's not a snuff film, no. So dude goes back to the shop that he bought it from. And they're like, it was pre-owned, can't do anything. But it seems sketchy because they know that there's something going on bigger than this. And so the teacher who bought the film in the first place is seeking out help. And it's just like, hey, yo, can you help me? And it's a former student of his. What? It's like 10 years later. So very much she's out of high school. She's been graduated for many years. And she knows, she like helped publish it or something like that. And knows how to get information. And it's a really interesting premise. It's been delayed like 3 or 4 times. I've heard about it over the summer, and I was like, interesting. And then it got massively delayed. The art in it is gorgeous. There's almost no dialogue. It is beautiful. It's such beautiful art direction. I'm very interested to see where this plot's gonna go. Because it keeps you thinking, oh, it's this. Oh, this guy is holding it. Oh, it's gonna be a super short series. It's beautiful. I'm gonna ask what in the world is filmography, not thermography, which I think is a study of thermals in the planet.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. So it's just good. I'm just gonna warn there is nudity and a hiring of a lady of the night. There's a couple of panels where there's graphic nudity. That's all I warn. But otherwise, it's beautiful. It's beautiful art.
So this week is the week of Thanksgiving, so that's why there was such a light, I guess, load, like a light, like a week. Yeah. So definitely get down to your LCSs. Pick up any of these books that you're wanting or liking. Most of these you're probably going to have to call them about, especially for the Frank Miller Presents. Yeah. Excuse me. Or like the Once Upon a Time at the End of the World is from Boom. Now I have the hiccups. Goodness gracious.
Comic House too.
Maybe Comic House, because there was a couple of new companies that were launching this week, and I feel kind of bad because, like I said, it is Thanksgiving week. There are going to be some places they're going to be delayed on their books, so please be kind to them.
And there's been a bunch of snowstorms up north,
Yep.
so please be patient if you are up north and your LCS is somewhere up in like Minnesota.
Yeah.
They just got slammed with like 3 or 4 feet of snow. So please be nice.
And if
to your
you're
LCS.
looking for an LCS, or if you're in somewhere new, you can do a local comic shop or comicshoplocator.com.
That too.
Where you can find any of the ones that you're looking for. So definitely try and pick up what you can. We hope that we were helpful with you guys today. Oh, the stupid closed captioning. And we will see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.